Good morning. For the next half hour, we invite you to join us for Intimate Moments with the Father, with your host, Pastor Eileen Milazzo. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Eileen Milazzo.
The title of this week's message is, How Will You Glorify God on October 31st? A mother was busy making supper in the kitchen and needing a can of tomato soup. She asked her 5-year-old son to go into the pantry and get one for her. But the light in the pantry was out, and he didn't really want to go in there anyway. "It's dark in there, and I'm scared," he said. She asked again, and he persisted. Finally, she said, "It's okay, honey. Jesus will be in there with you." So the little boy walked hesitantly to the door and slowly opened it. Looking inside, he saw it was dark, and he started to leave when all at once an idea came to him. He peeked back inside again and called out, "Jesus, if you're in there, would you hand me that can of tomato soup?" What's happening on October 31st? We all know the answer. It is Halloween. And the history of Halloween is where we will begin. Halloween was actually celebrated hundreds of years before the birth of Christ. In the British Isles, a group of people called the Celts observed a festival day they called Samhain, which fell on October 31st. But unlike today's Halloween, their festival was no children's holiday. The ritual that the Celts performed was named after the god Samhain, the Lord of the Dead. Halloween is a major money-making holiday that captures our lives, this time every year. Every store is filled with Halloween candy, costumes, and decorations. Television, radio, schools, and those online give plenty of time and attention to October 31st. Halloween is rooted deep into our culture. But we have to ask ourselves, is this a problem, or does it simply bring excitement? Before we can form any opinions about this subject, there is much that we need to examine. The Celts lived more than 2,000 years ago, and their religious practices spread from Great Britain and as far as Germany and farther. They believed that Samhain gathered all the souls of those who had died in the past year. These souls had been confined to the bodies of animals to atone for their sins. They were then sacrificed, you guessed it, on October 31st. For the Celts, this was a very scary time. The fall harvest was complete and winter was near. At this season of the year, the Celts knew that the power of the sun, S-U-N, was fading. For the next several months, darkness would prevail. As I said before, it was especially scary because they believed that there was something like a curtain that separated the living from the dead. And they believed that at this time of year, that curtain was at its thinnest. It was also their belief that evil spirits and the souls of the dead passed through this barrier and entered into the world of the living. And when the dead crossed the barrier, they would torment the living. Crops might get destroyed, babies may be stolen from their families, and farm animals would be killed. So in order to appease these deadly spirits, various sacrifices, including human sacrifice, was performed by the Celts. And then they left food out for the spirits, hoping that this treat would prevent an evil trick. After the sacrifices, the bones of all the dead were gathered and burned in a fire. That particular fire was known as a bone fire. That's where the term bonfire originated from. For example, now when we go to a football game and celebrate, sometimes we go to a bonfire. Today, Wicca is one of the fastest growing cults in America. Wicca is a neo-pagan religion. It can be traced back to the Gardnerian witchcraft, which was founded in the UK during the late 1940s. Wicca is based on the symbols, seasonal days of celebration, beliefs, and deities of the ancient Celtic society. Added to this material were Masonic and ceremonial magic components from recent centuries. In this respect, it is a religion whose roots go back almost 3,000 years to the formation of the Celtic society, 800 BC. Modern witches celebrate 8 main holidays. The most important of these, Samhain's Halloween. And now you know why. The souls of the dead are reported to come into the land of the living. So on and so forth. Here's something you may not know. The Internal Revenue Service has even given tax-exempt status to the Church of Wicca. That's the official church of witchcraft. Their financial gifts are tax-deductible, just as your tithe would be to your church. The state governments license Wiccan clerics even to perform marriages.
or stand against my family. And though there may be an enemy, greater is He that is in me. The weight of sin is my disease, but Jesus bore the stripes for me. And though there may be suffering, greater is He that is in me. Greater is He, greater is He. The Lamb is overcome. Greater is He, greater is He. The victory is won. It's finished, it's done. God's only Son has conquered the enemy. Greater is He, greater is He that is in me. His blood was shed on Calvary, the price He paid to ransom me. And now the grave has lost its stain, 'cause greater is He that is in me. Greater is He, greater is He. The Lamb is overcome. Greater is He, greater is He. The victory is won. It's finished, it's done. God's only Son has conquered the enemy. Greater is He, greater is He that is in me. No longer defeated, for the power of Jesus has risen, has conquered, now living in me. No longer defeated, for the power of Jesus has risen, has conquered, now living in me. No longer defeated, for the power of Jesus has risen, has conquered, now living in me, now living in me. Greater is He, greater is He. The Lamb is overcome. Greater is He, greater is He. The victory is won. It's finished, it's done. God's only Son has conquered the enemy. Greater is He, greater is He that is in me. Greater is He, greater is He that is in me. Greater is He, greater is He that is in me. No longer defeated, for the power of Jesus has risen, has conquered, now living in me, now living in me.
Thank you for listening to Intimate Moments with the Father. Have a pleasant Sunday.